So today's video is another video in the Hachette Disney Crochet Blanket series, and today we are moving on to issue 42. Issue 42 is the Cinderella Pumpkin Square. We're going to be making this one just here. For this one we need 4 colours plus our white for our border. We're going to be using sky blue, pumpkin, sea green and sage. It looks like we're just making the square in just the one colour in the blue, and it looks like it's exactly the same pattern all the way around, so it looks like this one's going to be quite simple. But then afterwards it looks like we will be making the pumpkin and then sewing that one and the other details on. So it looks like we're starting with the blue. Let's just get straight into it. So I've got a slip knot on my hook and we need to make 4 chains. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We then need to do a slip stitch into the first chain that we made. So pull that one through and then pull it straight through the loop that's already on your hook. For round 1 we want to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. And then we're going to be doing 2 trebles into the centre of the ring. So if you yarn over ready, pull both sides of your circle apart so you can find the centre. Go in through the middle, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 for your first treble, yarn over, back in through the centre of your loop, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you've done your second treble. We then want to chain 2 and do another 3 trebles into the ring. One, 2 and 3. So your magazine under round 1 will tell you exactly how many times that you need to repeat your 2 chains and 3 trebles into the ring. For all people new to my videos, these aren't my patterns. This is just a tutorial video to use alongside the Hachette Disney Crochet magazine subscription for those who do subscribe, to teach you how to make the squares. So due to copyright I can't give away the full pattern. So for all those with the subscription, if you want to follow the instructions under round 1 and repeat the 2 chains and 3 trebles as many times as it says in the magazine, I will meet you at the end of the round. So after our last 3 trebles into the ring, you need to chain 1, and then we're finishing off with a double crochet into the 3rd chain. So you've got your 3 chains here at the beginning that you did at the start of the round. So just go into the 3rd, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both, and you've finished round 1. For round 2 we need to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. We're then going to do a treble into the corner space. So if you pull on both sides you will find your corner. So yarn over into your corner, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We then want to do a treble in each of the next 3 trebles. So yarn over, you've got your 3 trebles here from your last round, so you want to be going into those. So my first stitch is just here. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and into my second treble. There's my second treble and my 3rd, and now we're at the corner. Into the corner you want to do 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. So there's 1 treble and 2 chains and then 2 more trebles. 1 and 2. So it's 3 trebles along, 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles into the corners. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So at the last corner, we're doing 2 trebles into the corner space. 1 and 2. We then need to chain 1, and we're joining with a double crochet into our third chain. So go into your third chain from the start of the round, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops, and you've completed round 2. For round 3, we are chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, and each round from now on is basically going to be a repeat of the round that we have just done. We're going to be doing a treble into each stitch along and 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles into the corners, all of the way around. So starting off like we did for the last round, we have done our 3 chains and then we are doing 1 treble into the corner space. So we want to start off with trebling along. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Into the corners it's 2 trebles, 2 chains and 2 trebles. 1, 2, 2 chains and 2 more trebles. 1 and 2. So treble along, 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles in the corners. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So at the last corner, 2 trebles into the corner space, 1 and 2, chain 1, and then it's a double crochet into the third chain. That's the end of round 3, and now for round 4 we're doing exactly the same as we have before. Chain 3, there's 1, 2 and 3, a treble into the corner space, and now treble along to the other side. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. Into the corner as before, it's 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles. 1, 2, chain 2 and 2 more trebles. Go all the way around and I'll meet you at the last corner for this round. Last corner of round 4, as before, 2 trebles into the corner, 1 and 2, chain 1 and then a double crochet into your third chain. Mine seems to be stuck. Here we go. Starting exactly the same as all the other rounds, it's chain 3 and 1 treble into your corner space. So we're trebling along as we have done for all of the other rounds. There we go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. As before, 2 trebles, 2 chains, 2 trebles in the corners. 1 treble, 2 treble, 2 chains, and 1 and my second treble. Carry on as before, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So final corner of round 5, we're continuing with doing exactly the same as what we've done for all the other rounds, so just yarn over there. We then are doing 2 trebles into the corner space, 1 and 2. We then want to chain 1 and finish off with a double crochet into your 3rd chain from the 3 chains that you did at the beginning of the round. So for round 6 we're chaining 3. We then want to do a treble along the same stitch as what we've been doing in every single stitch from the last round. I'm not going to tell you exactly how many there should be, it will tell you in the magazine, but I'll do a couple with you. So yarn over into your first stitch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. If you go to the first corner, I'll show you what you need to do from there. So I've done the number of trebles along that it says in the magazine under round 6, and I've come to my first corner. In the corners for round 6 we're doing 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. So into the corner there's 1 treble, 2 chains and 1 treble. So if you continue around, it's trebles along, the corners are 1 treble, 2 chain, 1 treble, and I'll meet you at the end of the round. Final corner of round 6, we're doing 1 treble into our corner space. We are then chaining 2, and we want to finish off with a slip stitch into our 3rd chain. So we've got our 3 chains here, so go into the 3rd, pull a loop through and pull it straight through the loop on your hook. And now we're on to round 7, which is the last round before we will be doing our border. So we want to chain 1, and for this round we're going to be working with the double crochet stitch. So we want to do a double crochet along in every stitch. The magazine under round 7 will tell you exactly how many there should be for this round. So go into your first stitch and pull up a loop so you have 2 on your hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through both, and you've done your first double crochet. Into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both, and you've done 2. So there's 3, 4 and 5. If you go along, I'll meet you at your first corner. So when you get to the corner, you want to do 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet into the corner space. So into the space, 1 double crochet, 2 chains and 1 double crochet. If you continue along with your double crochets and the same in the corners of 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet, I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've come to the end of round 7. We want to do a double crochet into the corner space. So go in through and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. After that we want to chain 2, 1 and 2. And the final thing we need to do is a slip stitch into the first double crochet. So you can see we've got our first stitch here. You can see that V at the start of the row. So go in through that one, pull up a loop and pull that straight through the loop that's already on your hook, and you've finished round 7. We're now moving on to the border in the white, as we always do. So we need to join the white to any of our corner spaces, and we can fasten off the blue. I've joined my white to a corner space for the border. Now I feel this square is quite large compared to some of the other squares that we've got. Just to show you, I've got our Ariel character square here, and this one is finished with the border already on, and it is the same size as the square we're currently making without the border. So for that reason, I am, just like my other videos, going to make a smaller border for this square. I just hope that you've seen my other videos to know what I mean, because I won't be showing you how to do both, but I will explain. So normally for our border, we will use a half double crochet stitch, which has a medium height, so it would add considerable amount of width to the square. I am going to do the same border instructions but using a smaller stitch, using a double crochet, to add less height and less width to the square. That's all it is. It's exactly the same instructions, I'm just using a different stitch. If your square is of average size and you don't want to make it smaller with a border, this is what you need to do. So you would start off with 2 chains, 1 and 2, and then you would do a half treble in each of the next 23 stitches. So you would yarn over into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And you would go all the way along with your half treble, and in the corner space you would do 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. But I'm obviously not going to do that because I'm going to use the double crochet stitch. So we don't need to do 2 chains at the beginning with the double crochet, we just do 1 because obviously we're adding less height. We're doing exactly the same pattern like I just said, but using a different stitch. So we're going to double crochet along, and we want 23. So in through the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. We've done 1. And there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 and 23. And so now I'm at my first corner. Remember, if you're doing the half double crochet, the taller stitch into the corner, it's 1 half double crochet, 2 chains, 1 half double crochet, but we're using the double crochet. So into that corner space, we're doing 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and 1 double crochet. So you can continue with that along. It's just a stitch in every stitch along, depending on which one you're using. The corners is 1 stitch, 2 chains, 1 stitch, and by stitch I mean either using the half double crochet or the double crochet. If you go all the way around, I'll meet you at the final corner and show you what you need to do from there. So our final corner for the border, we want to do 1 stitch into the corner space. So it depends if you're doing the half treble or the double crochet. I'm doing the double crochet, so I'm going into the corner space, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through both. We then need to do 2 chains, and we're finishing off with a slip stitch. If you have done half trebles, you want to finish it off into your second chain that you had at the beginning. If you have done the double crochet, go into the first double crochet stitch that you did, pull up a loop, pull that one straight through. So there's our square finished. We just have our applique details to make. So we will be making a magic ring using the paprika colour next. So you all know I don't like filming the magic rings because they're just so awkward with the way you hold your hands, but I will try my best. So working tail is on my left side and I have got the non-working end of the yarn in my right hand. You want to hold it over. Again, this is if you're right-handed. I'm really sorry I can't show you if you're left-handed. Hold it over your index finger and your middle finger of your left hand, just like so. I'm then going to pinch with my thumb. I'm going to bring it down the back, up over the front of those fingers that are facing me, and then I want to turn my hand so I have got the tops of my fingers on top, and I'm then going to use the wool I have in my right hand to form a cross over the tops of my fingers. I'm then going to thread it underneath my ring finger and hold that in place. So I've got the cross in my fingers, which are held down by my ring finger, holding those 2 points of the cross. And we can now pick up our hook. We're going under the top right of the cross and then over the top of the top left. And where that hook is, we just want to pull it, use the hook to pull the top left of the cross under the top right. And from this point, we want to turn our hook towards us. And so it will form a shape like this on your hook. We then want to pick up the new top right of the cross, which is really difficult to see, but it's this piece of yarn just here by the top of my finger. So this one here, we want to pick that one up and pull it through the loop on our hook, and that's our magic ring done. So we can take our fingers out. I always pick out the non-working tail from the centre of the circle so it doesn't get mixed up and we can see exactly where our circle is. You can then pull, if you want to, your working yarn just to tighten that loop around your hook. That's our magic ring done, and we can move on to round 1. So we want to chain 2. There's 1 and 2. We then want to do 11 half trebles into the centre of the ring. So for a half treble, we're yarning over, we're going into the ring, pulling up a loop so we've got 3 on our hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through all 3. So there's 1, yarn over into your ring, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. There's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there's 11. After we've done our 11 half trebles, you can pull on that non-working yarn, but do it slowly so everything doesn't twist, because we want to close that ring. Pull it as tight as you can and it will look something like this. We then want to do a slip stitch into the second chain that we did at the beginning. Now the chains of these stitches just here, you can see your first V there for your first stitch. Well, the chains are here at the beginning. We want to slip stitch to close our circle. So I'm going into the second chain, pulling up a loop and then pulling that one straight through, and we've closed our circle. You might find for this that the circle in the centre that we've just pulled to tighten might come undone, but that is absolutely fine. You can keep pulling on this tail to tighten it as we go along, and then at the end you can just sew it shut if you so wish to. So moving on to round 2, we want to chain 2. We then want to do a half treble into the same stitch that our chains are coming from. So if you yarn over, and our chains are coming from this stitch, so we're going to go into this stitch and do a half treble. We then want to do 2 half trebles into each of the next 11 stitches. So yarn over and into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and we've done 1, and now we're going into the same stitch, and there's 2. Into the next stitch, 1 and 2, and I've done that twice, and we've got to do it 11 times. 1 and 2, and there's 3 times. 1 and 2, I've done it 4 times. 1 and 2, there's 5. 1 and 2, there's 6. 1 and 2, there's 7. 1 and 2, there's 8. 1 and 2, there's 9. 1 and 2, there's 10, and last one, 1 and 2, and I've done my 2 half trebles into each of the 11 stitches around. We're then again joining with a slip stitch into our second chain that we did at the beginning, and pull that one through. For round 3, we chain 1. We're doing 1 double crochet in each of the next 2 half trebles. So into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. We want to do a half treble into the next stitch, so yarn over, into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. 2 half trebles into the next stitch, so yarn over, into your next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and then repeat that stitch into the same stitch. We're doing 2 trebles into the next stitch, so yarn over, into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, another treble into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. We then want to do a treble into each of the next 2 stitches, so sticking with the same stitch, there's 1 treble, and now moving on to the next stitch, there's our second treble. 2 trebles into the next stitch, so yarn over, into your next, there's 1 treble, and do a treble into the same stitch. We're then doing 2 half trebles into the next stitch, so yarn over, into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. We're then repeating that stitch into the same stitch. 1 half treble into the next, 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both, and then the same stitch into the next. 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. A half treble into the next stitch, so yarn over into your next, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, 2 half trebles into the next stitch, there's 1 and 2, 2 trebles into the next stitch, so yarn over into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and then repeat that stitch into the same stitch. 1 treble into each of the next 2 stitches. There's 1, and into your next stitch. There's 2, 2 trebles into the next stitch. There's 1 and 2. 2 half trebles in the next stitch, so yarn over into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3, and repeat that into the same stitch. 1 half treble into the next, and then 1 double crochet into the next 2 stitches. There's 1 and 2. We then want to finish off round 3 with a slip stitch into our first double crochet stitch that we did. So find your V at the top, pull a loop through and pull it through the loop that's already on our hook. And moving on to round 4, we just want to chain 1, and then we're going to do a double crochet into each stitch around. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 and 32. And I'm back round at the beginning. So we're doing a slip stitch into our first double crochet, and you can then fasten that one off. We're using the sage colour to make the stalk, and I've already made a slip knot onto my hook. We then want to chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. We then want to do a treble into the 4th chain from the hook. So I'm yarning over ready, and then you can count back. So there's 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm going into the 4th chain from the hook and pulling up a loop. So I've got 3 on my hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and you've done your treble into your 4th chain. We then want to do a double crochet into each of the next 4 chains that we've got left. So go into your next stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both, and we've done 1 into your next, there's 2 into your next, we've done 3 into your next, and we've done 4. We can actually fasten that one off. That's all we needed to do for the stalk. The last thing we will be making is the leaf. So again, we want to make a slip knot and put it onto our hook. And we are then chaining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We want to do a slip stitch into the 2nd chain from the hook. So this is our 1st chain from our hook, and our 2nd is here. So we're going into that one, pulling up a loop and pulling that one straight through the loop that's already on our hook. A double crochet into the next chain. So go into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. A half treble into the next chain. So yarn over into the next, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. A treble into the next, so yarn over into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Then we want to do 7 trebles into the next chain. So yarn over into your next, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and we've done 1 into that space, and we want to do 7. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We're now going to continue working up the opposite side where it is much more difficult to see the stitches, but let's see how we go. We want to do a treble into the next chain. So yarn over, and you want to try and pick up these stitches along here. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. A half treble into the next. A double crochet into the next, and then a slip stitch into the first slip stitch that we did. So we're going into that first one, pulling up a loop and pulling that one straight through. There's our leaf complete. We can now fasten that one off. Remember to leave a long enough tail for sewing. So the next step is our sewing, and I have gone ahead and already pinned on my pumpkin onto my square. We need to pin it on so that it is completely central, and you can see that it fits within the box just here. Can you see the lines down either side? It is flatter on the top, so you will have more of a gap at the top and the bottom, but it fits perfectly between that row that we did of the blue on the square. So once you have pinned that one down, go ahead and sew all the way around, and I will meet you back to show you what we're doing next. So my pumpkin's sewn down, and I've now put my stalk on top. You want the base of it to be central, slightly leaning to the left. I've pinned that one down. I'm going to sew around, and I'll come back with the next step. So here's what it looks like once the stalk is added, and now the next step is to add the leaf. So I've got my leaf here, and it does say in the instructions to add 2 stitches and then to have the leaf, but it will be like sticking up above it. I'm not 100% sure I want to do that. I think I'm just going to add my leaf directly on to the base of the stalk, the top of the pumpkin. It's completely up to you. You can follow the instructions. There's like pictures in the magazine that show you how to do the stitching. So if you want to do it that way, do it that way. Obviously, it's completely up to us how we have our finished squares looked. But I am just going to pin mine directly there and just sew it straight on. So moving on to the tendrils. Now I have got a Crayola pen, which as you can see, it says ultra clean and washable. And this will help us to mark out the tendrils. You can use anything that washes off, to be fair. Like, you might even be able to mark it out with a pencil. Just go careful you're not using a Sharpie, which is obviously permanent. I've taken some artistic license with the tendrils. I think the tendrils on the Hachette version make the pumpkin look like it's floating slightly because they're so far below the pumpkin, which I didn't like. So I have just mapped something out different. So I've started from the edge and I've come up and around this way. I've then started from the bottom of the pumpkin and gone along and around here. And then my last one, I've started at the bottom of the pumpkin and gone up and over. There's a loop and then I've gone around and down again. You can honestly do what you want to do for this because it's all about being creative. So I'm just going to extend that because I don't like how it is equal to this bit at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and now show you how to sew those on. So I've threaded my needle with some of the sage green and I'm going to start with the right tendril to begin with. So I'm going up through the base of the pumpkin and I'll just show you how to do the chain stitch. We have done it before, but I'll just show you because I had to remind myself. We're leaving a tail at the back to sew in. And we then want to go back down through the same hole. And we want to leave a loop, essentially. So when you've got the loop the size you want it, we'll move it into place. And make sure it's following the line that you've made. You then want to go up from the back, up through that loop. Can you see? So we're catching that one. And don't pull it too tight because obviously we want to keep the shape of that loop there. And now it's just essentially just following exactly the same instructions. So you're going back down through the same hole and making a loop. And you want your loops to be the same size every time. So we've got another loop there now. Pull that one a bit tighter. And then up from the back, go up through the loop. And can you see how that stitch is forming? Back down through the same hole. And make your loop. Make sure it's the same size. And then from the back, go up through your loop again. So I'm going to do that all the way along my tendrils and I will meet you back when it's finished. So here is my finished Cinderella pumpkin square. It's a bit different to how I said I was going to do it before I sewed the tendrils on, because obviously I had an area down here I was doing as well. And obviously you can see the green marker there that I've tried to rub off, but just ignore that. I will wash it in shortly. I just wanted to get this video out to you. If I'd have done it wet in the video, it wouldn't have looked quite right. So yeah, when it was coming around, it just wasn't looking right at all. So that's why I have left it with just the tendrils along the line. So they are at just the base of the pumpkin, which is how it would look in real life anyway. And upon making this and doing it this way, as soon as I put it down, I realised it kind of looks like the Cinderella pumpkin carriage with the way the ends come up at the side, which I think is quite cool. It wasn't intentional, it's just how it's worked out. So this is issue 42 and it's the Cinderella pumpkin square, and that one is all now complete. Please give this video a thumbs up, leave a like if you have enjoyed it, or even if you've just used the video, because like I say, I need to have a gauge of how many people are using them. So please leave a like if you have used the video and you are a subscriber to the Disney crochet series. If you need any help, just leave a comment below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And obviously, if you want a notification for the next video, just hit the subscribe button and you'll get a little message pop up when the next video is available. So until then, have a fantastic week and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.